Here we go. It's day one of the Jeep build. You can see the grill. When I put the side-by-side picture up, you'll see why the headlights look like they're in a teardrop profile. The bullet tweeters are the blinkers right here, and these 6.5 mid-ranges will be recessed back off into this spot. They'll sink in actually about an inch and a half all the way back. It's going to be running one 15-inch Forte, and of course this is all just mocked up right now, nothing's glued. When this piece comes out, it's just holding it up. A bumper will slide around this, and then we'll have two fenders that go up and over the two side ports. You have one on each side. There's the other one. And the ports will port out this way and then port up. Alright, day two of the Jeep build. I've got the diamond plate bumper finished on the top. There you can see the tow hooks that I've made. And again, when I put the side-by-side pictures up of the actual grill I was sent, you'll see all the similarities to it. Amplifier goes in here. Normally this is where your winch goes. That's where the amp will go. This is the fair lead rollout for the winch cable. I'll probably go ahead and make the rollers for it, and then I'll put a piece of glass in here, and then I'll write Jeep back behind it. So still got quite a ways to go on it. Still need to, next up we'll be building the fenders up and over the sides, and that should complete the look of the entire box. Okay, today I'm just showing you the finished bumper. It'll still have some pieces that go on the side, the headlight pieces. They go just like that. And then I'll box all that in on the sides. The Jeep logo goes inside of here. Pops into the back of that. Amplifier in here. You can see where I've built out the ports on each side. And then the rest of the fender will go up and swing around to the top. Okay, so I've gotten the fenders done. You can see this is the top fender. I've got the radius over here. You can see how I've constructed the side port and the sides. Here is the bumper. This part will be isolated from the main chamber. That will help with vibration on the amp. You can see the amp in the hole where normally the winch would go. The bullet tweeters are just hanging in there to show them to you. This is going to make it real easy to paint, because I'll be able to, this whole section is black, so I'll be able to pull this out, paint it, and slide it right underneath the silver part of the main enclosure. Now this part just simply slides up and under there, just like that. Today I've been working on these fender gaps. If you'll study the picture, you'll see a gap here. My gap is not as big as the one on the original Jeep, but it didn't need to be. I just needed to sell the fact that it was two different pieces, and I believe it does that. It's also offset slightly back over here and the same amount here. I actually wanted the body gaps, especially this gap, believe it or not. That's going to sell the look of the grill being independent, and these gaps will sell the look that this is the fender that's attached over the top of the bumper. You can see I've got the Jeep sign in, that'll be lit up in blue, and I've got the LED circles already made. There's one of them, and that goes back behind here, and that'll be lit up in white, and that'll sell the entire part of the bumper. I've got the 6x5s made, mid base. They go in just like that. See how that's going to look. And so that's how far I've gotten on it today. Okay, today I'm putting on the tow hooks. I was going to drill them all the way through and make them swing, but they're going to be too delicate, and the pins are going to split apart the wood if I do that. So I've changed my mind on that. What I've done is I like the look of them spaced away from the bumper. I thought about just gluing them all the way to the bumper where they would be the strongest, but it gives more depth and more of a 3D look when they're hanging down. So what I've had to do is make some pins, and you can see I just made that out of a dowel. I sanded that in a circle to get it down smaller. If I'd have kept getting that hole bigger, it would have spread apart and made the hook weak. So that just goes in there. There's one that I've already glued on, and so you can see that's how I'll make the pin appear to be stood off from the front of the bumper, so it looks like it's hanging, and it'll give it some strength. Okay, today I'm working on the hood spoiler. I call it the headlight spoiler. It's a compound, difficult shape to make, so what I'm doing is I'm building it up in layers. It has to have a V that comes down on each V. Of course, it has to have this shape that curves back in and bows around that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave these poked out this far, and to get rid of some of this angle down and make it more pronounced straight, I'll take my sander and I'll sculpt it, and then I'll fill this in with wood putty, much like Bondo on a real car, and then I'll sculpt it down with a hand sander until I'm happy with the look. Okay, just got through wiring up the bumper for the Jeep build, and I want to show you the lights and how I made the fog lights on. I was able to source these 12-volt remotes so that he can control. They're 2-channel, which A and B, which means I'll be able to turn on 2 different sets of lights independently of each other. The bumper lights will come on as one unit, and then the main lights inside the chamber that control the headlights and the inside of the enclosure where the sub is. Basically, we're calling that the motor of the Jeep. That'll be on channel B. So I'll go ahead and turn these on. Of course, this is where the amplifier will be and rise up out of here. And these are to mimic his fog lights in his bumper. I started by etching out 7 circles in the pattern to look like LEDs, and then I had this material, which is what you can get at Lowe's or any home store. This replaces when you have a fluorescent light go out. This is a replacement screen for it. It gives it a really nice rippled diamond plate finish, and when you look at it behind the lights, it really gives the appearance of the light that looks more professionally done. It's more believable. It also kills off the view, blurs off the view back behind it. This is a look at how it looks when it's wired up. It's just simply glued on the piece of 1/4 inch Lexan to give it that pattern behind it. And again, it stops the view all the way through, so you can no longer see all the way through the headlight. Okay, so finally finished with the Jeep box. A lot to show you, so I'll summarize everything. You may have seen some of these parts in the video already. We'll start up here on the hood. You've got your your hinges. That's nothing but a dowel laid in the seam of this crack to give it the appearance of a barrel. These are your vents for your fresh air coming into the Jeep. Has a removable windshield for the car show. It's just got his realty company on it. It comes off really simple back here with 6 screws, and it has 2 pilot holes with dowels sticking out of them to align the windshield perfectly every time. Of course, the windshield changes colors with this remote. Changes colors, fades in and out, runs patterns, choose whatever you want. Down to the box, we've got these light ribbons that go in here. Your 6.5 mid base, which is technically the headlight. There, you can see it right there. Get it in there better. There you can see it. Get the glow all around it. These are your blinkers. That's where these bullet tweeters go. They stick out just a little bit. Right here, this is where the amplifier rises up out of the box a little bit, simulating your winch. Of course, we got the Jeep little, this is the area where the tow cable would have paid out of the winch. Got your tow hooks. And then we've got these really nice fog lights that I made up. Simply just scratched 7 circles and then put around the back side of it. Glued in some material you'll find from your fluorescent lights hanging from the ceiling. Those are replacement screens. It gives it that lens effect. These lights are on different channels, so you can see A channel turns off the bumper, B channel turns off the interior lights and the headlight rings up at front. So you've got a channel and a B channel, so you can control 2 different lights. Everything is made to pull apart so that when the bumper comes out, the bumper slides out separately from the box. That gives you the isolation that you need from direct vibration coming from the main enclosure to the amplifier. It minimizes it as much as possible. Also lets you get everything wired in and kind of try to just start plugging all this in place. The lights for up here are run on their own power. I would suggest you come in and grab it off the amp, which is where everything else is coming from. But that's basically it. Tried to give him a box that looked like a Jeep. I'll put up a side-by-side picture of the actual Jeep this was modeled out after. Of course, it would have looked more real had the fenders kept coming on out as wide as they needed to be, but we reached the limit of the space he had available between the wheel wells. So this is what we end up with. Of course, the main 15 will be back in here. You can see the circle. You'll see it through the grill here. You can see his terminal post right there. They exit out right below here, and a short run straight to your bumper right here.